AITA for abandoning my daughter on vacation? My wife and I have always dreamed of celebrating our 40th anniversary with a luxurious vacation. Just the two of us. Reliving the romance of our early years. We had it all planned out for years now and were excited beyond words. Enter our adult daughter Jane. Jane and her husband got wind of our plans and promptly invited themselves and their 2 children, 9F, 5M, along. I originally put my foot down and told them this trip was just for us, which upset her some. But my wife has a hard time saying no to Jane, as she is the youngest of our children and our only daughter. And she didn't want to hurt her feelings. So she reluctantly agreed to let them join. I wasn't thrilled about it at the time, but I wanted to make my family happy. And I knew my wife was also okay with the idea of a family trip, even if she was heartbroken we wouldn't get our romantic trip. We went along with it. The place we were originally going was not child-friendly, so we changed course and decided on an all-inclusive family-friendly resort. We paid for the resort and our grandchildren's plane tickets. Jane and her husband only had to pay for their own airfare. Here's where things get complicated. As the vacation got closer, I started having a change of heart. I realized that our 40th anniversary was a once-in-a-lifetime milestone, and I wanted to honor it in a way that was true to our original plans. My wife and I might not be able to afford a trip like this again for quite some time, and it's something we always wanted to do. So, without consulting anyone, I switched our tickets last minute to go to the romantic destination that my wife and I had originally planned for. I did not tell Jane or her husband. I didn't even tell my wife until the day before our flight left, which was a day before Jane's flight left for their vacation. It wasn't an easy decision and I feel guilty about it, but I wanted our 40th anniversary to be the special, intimate celebration we had always hoped for. We called Jane after we landed to tell her, and she was extremely upset, to say the least. She seemed of the idea that we were going to look after our grandkids so she and her husband could have alone time, and now that I abandoned her they would have to do it all themselves. I hung up on them when my son-in-law started shouting, and my wife and I enjoyed the rest of our trip. They came back the same day we did, but have not answered any of our texts, and Jane seems to be ignoring me. My wife told me she vastly preferred our trip to the family trip we would have taken, but she still doesn't like how Jane is mad at us and wants me to apologize. I'm not sure I want to, after learning Jane and her husband were using us for free babysitting and a free trip, but I feel like I should, just to keep the peace. Am I the asshole for changing our trip destination last minute and leaving Jane and her family to fend for themselves? NTA. What part of the 40th anniversary trip did your daughter and son-in-law not understand? Oh, boo freaking who. They wanted to spend time alone and designated the grandparents to babysit on what should have been their special trip. If your daughter and son-in-law wanted alone time on a trip, they could have gone on a different trip and politely asked you and your wife to watch the kids while they were away, not try and hijack your trip. Do not feel guilty op. Not even for a second. You and your wife have done the parenting of your kids, and now it's time to start enjoying life as a couple again. Sure, you're parents and grandparents, but you're still a couple and deserve to enjoy falling in love with each other all over again, with romantic trips that do not include your offspring or grandkids. Your daughter needs a swift kick of reality right in the tuchus. She had the audacity to invite her family to your romantic weekend with the express purpose of securing babysitters so she could enjoy herself without any thought for her parents. The entitlement is mind-boggling. NTA, you essentially paid for her holiday. If you then go elsewhere, then that's up to you. You have no obligation to tell her or check with her First, she has no right to expect you to be her babysitter on your 40-year wedding anniversary trip. Jane needs to check her entitlement. Funny how she wanted time with her husband without the kids but didn't think you and your wife would want that on such a special occasion. Things she doesn't understand or take into account either is I am sure that over those 40 years and with 3 children you and your wife will have already made compromises and put your kids before you. You sound like the kind of amazing parents that would. It's now time for her to give back and make sure you and your wife get to enjoy some of those things you have missed out on. So NTA, and I am glad you and your wife enjoyed yourselves XXX happy anniversary bottle with popping cork clinking glasses. NTA and your daughter flat out admitting she was planning to have you two be on babysitting duties during your anniversary vacation so her and her husband can get some alone time is so extremely selfish that might almost feel like parental fail. You have catered to her needs seems a bit too much and she has gotten the idea that your world revolves mainly around her. Maybe because she is your youngest? But she is an adult person in a relationship with kids now so should understand quickly you have your own relationship and life outside being her parent. You did the smart thing. If I were in your place, I'd leave the reach out to Jane to see when she will try to contact you. Communicate all this with your wife too. It is unfair what they had planned for your vacation and especially when they knew you wanted alone time. You paid for their kids' holiday too, so you are entirely guilt-free about changing your plans. NTA. I laughed my butt off when I read you switched back to the romantic vacation. Good for you. And your bride of 40 years. Your daughter and Sil are entitled Oz. I glad the truth came out that they wanted you to be childcare for their vacation. I just can't believe the nerve of some people. Congratulations on your 40th. You deserved the holiday of your dreams. Not your entitled child's dream. Your nightmare. And hear what you tell your daughter. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry that you barged in on my end. Your mother's anniversary trip and guilt us into paying for you and your husband and kids to come along for free, and I'm sorry that instead of you forcing us to babysit your kids on a vacation I paid for you had to actually be a parent while your mother and I enjoyed our anniversary together alone like was originally planned. I'm just so sorry you're upset that you got a free vacation. End apology. They expected you to spend your anniversary being babysitters for their kids while they enjoyed the holiday you paid for. That was not going to be a holiday for you. Merely babysitting at a different location than normal. You were right to change your destination to the original one last minute. They should never have invited themselves to your holiday in the first place. If you had told them about the change before going, they would have soured the holiday before it began with their complaining and sense of entitlement. NTA. NTA. Your own daughter wants you two to be babysitters on your anniversary? You have raised an entitled daughter. Ignore her and don't babysit for her anymore. NTA. Honestly, it sounds like you dodged a last-minute bullet. Especially with it seeming as though their plan was to have y'all watch their kids. Very proud of you for that decision and ultimately choosing your happiness. Your daughter is grown and hopefully they make it to their 40th to get the same trip. NTA at all. Jane basically tried to sabotage your anniversary. You guys have spoiled her rotten by succumbing to all her requests. Just ignore her and I bet she'll pop up at your house when she needs a free babysitter. NTA. She made her reasons for wanting to go with you perfectly clear. Changing without telling her might seem harsh, but I happily admit I laughed when I read it. Good for you. NTA at all. Sorry. But Jane is entitled and spoiled. She didn't want a family vacation. She wanted free babysitting and the idea she would take advantage of your wife on a milestone. Anniversary trip makes her the enjoy the quiet. She'll be back when she needs something. Congratulations on your 40th edit. Words. So you paid for their trip and for their kids' plane tickets, and they wanted you to babysit on your 40th anniversary trip? There are some AHs here. But it's not you or your wife. Your daughter is a huge one and totally tried to take advantage of you. NTA. NTA. But this all could have been avoided if your wife had just backed you up in the first place when you said no. Tell her to grow a backbone and tell your daughter no when it comes to this kind of thing. So, you basically paid for Jane's family vacation and this somehow upset her? What? Is she too poor or too stingy to afford a babysitter for a couple of nights? Most family-friendly resorts offer this service for a fee or kids' clubs, disco nights included in the price of the stay. So it's not like you worry about where to find a reliable babysitter or activities for the kids. Your daughter is unfair to you and unappreciative of what you do for her. When my parents paid for me and my family, I thanked them. I did not get upset because they didn't pay for gas. 2. NTA. But what a rod your wife and you created for your backs. Spoiled girl became spoiled woman. What did your other children think of her and her family getting a free trip? Or are they so used to her getting whatever she wants they gave up? NTA. Since your daughter is only speaking to your wife right now, then your wife should be the one demanding an apology. They tried to steal your anniversary trip and use you. ETA. If you want to give the same energy you're receiving, then give them one of those no apologies. I'm sorry you feel we hurt your feelings by not babysitting for you on our anniversary trip that you invited the entire family to attend when we specifically said no until you pushed so hard your poor mother caved. Asshole for not telling her ahead of time, even if it would lead to an argument, etc. NTA for abandoning her though. I'm getting really tired of adult children telling their parents what to do. Why aren't parents being adults and standing up for what they want with adult children? Why in the world would you apologize for taking a dreamy vacation to celebrate your anniversary? They owe you an apology. NTA. Forget the Esh and YTA verdicts. Your daughter and husband invited themselves on your anniversary trip in order to get alone time. Using the both of you as babysitters on your anniversary is selfish. If they want alone time, they could have planned their own vacation and not leech off of you and your wife. NTA. But next time, stick to your guns. In fact, from now on, plan only your vacations. Your kids are adults. They can plan theirs. Regarding apologizing, you can apologize for not standing by the original intention and having to change your mind at the last minute. Please do make it clear that it will never happen again and that henceforth, it is to be understood that any planned vacation is just for your wife and yourself unless expressly stated otherwise.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.